T20 test on one day. India, England, Australia. What a player, what a player, what a player.
Hello and welcome back to Waadaplaya Concussion Sub-Series, where we will be previewing the long-awaited India versus Sri Lanka ODI and T20 series, where the Indian B side effectively has gone to Sri Lanka, which we've never seen that happen before, whereas the Indian men's test team is in England. They played the World Test Championship and then they are preparing for the 5 test match series against England. At the end of this video, please stay on with us. We'll be giving you fantasy tips for the first match. And to discuss everything on that, I have Akash, Vishak and Suman with me. Hi boys, how are we doing?
Good, Sanjay.
Great, Sanjay.
Suman, I see the background you've got is from a certain Champions Trophy game which you watched back in 2017. Why are you reminding us of this?
Just missing live cricket. It has been almost 2.5 years. So today watching the crowds in England-Pakistan game, so I thought why not for a twist and change, put a background where I've been to. This is India-Pakistan Champions Trophy, Edgbaston, where India won the game.
Not the final one where okay. I'm fine with that then. Pakistan almost has won the other game anyways today. Let's quickly look at the squad which both teams have announced. So Vishak, you're the expert in taking us through the difficult names for Sri Lankan team. So over to you to start with.
Again, there have been some changes with the Sri Lankan side. A lot of changes. Like 3 players who got banned, they have not done. And the captain has also changed. Kusal Perera is no longer the captain. He's been dropped as well. I think he has a shoulder injury that he's not been picked. But anyways, there were talks that their captain will be replaced. And Dasun Shanaka has been made the new captain. It looks like a big shuffle in the captaincy. There's a lot of shuffles going on in the Sri Lankan captaincy. A lot of musical chairs happening here and there. So we'll see how many captains they will have going forward. And they have Dhananjaya De Silva, who is a handy all-rounder. Avishka Fernando, a good middle-order batsman. Bhanuka Rajapaksa, who was actually had some issues. I think he was banned for about a month because he had breached some contract, and he is back now. And Pathum Nissanka is kind of called a big player in Sri Lanka. So, but he has not fulfilled his potential yet. Charit Asalanka, another batsman. Vanindo Hasaranga, who's been doing pretty well with his leg spin recently, and also bats in the middle order. Ashan Bandara, another middle order batsman, bowls a little bit of leg spin. Minod Bhanuka, another left-handed batsman, middle order batsman. Lahiru Udara is a new face, uncapped player, who's a left-handed batsman. Ramesh Mendes, all-rounder, who bowls a little bit of off spin. Then Chamika Karunaratne, who is a medium pacer who played in the England series as well. Vinura Fernando, tall left-arm seamer. Dushmanta Chamira, who has been pretty good in the recent concluded series. Lakshan Sandakan, their Chinaman bowler. Akila Dhananjaya, another spinner who has been doing pretty well for Sri Lanka. Shiran Fernando, another pacer there. Lakshan, who has been pretty well with doing pretty well in the LPL, is the other one. Jayaratne was picked in the England series. He didn't get a game. Praveen Jayavikrama is another off spinner who did pretty well in his test debut. Picked up around 11 wickets. Asita Fernando, another pacer. Tasoon Rajita and Lahiru Kumar are back after injury layoff. They were and Isuru Udana, who has been with the RCB, who also bowls pretty well and bowls at the death and also can bat.
Phew, that was breathless. Thanks, Shankar. Sorry, Vishak. Wow, half of the team, I don't know what they do because these guys are the expert, Vishak and Akash. They know everyone, what they do even in their sleep. So, Suman, take us through to the Indian team. Lots of recognized players. Obviously, there's a B squad, but this is as strong as, the first squad, I'd imagine.
Yeah, this team needs no introductions. But having said that, for Arjuna Ranatunga's sake, let's go through player by player to explain to him what we can bring to the table. Shikhar Dhawan, who is captaining for the very first time. We heard from Vijay Lokpally sir and Sabah Karim that he might bring in a breath of fresh air into the system. So let's see how he performs. Prithvi Shaw, looking forward for him going crazy with Sri Lankan bowlers. He can open, he can play in middle order. Devdutt Padikkal, who Akash thinks that he'll score 300, fastest 300 ever, but time will tell. Rituraj Gaikwad, Chennai Super Kings lad, first season of IPL was not too successful. Dhoni persisted, and we all seen what he can do. Surya Kumar Yadav, much awaited. I think he's number 4, strong number 4 in all formats. Future for India. Let's see how he does. Manish Pandey, Sunrisers, run a ball player. Nitish Rana, Kolkata Knight Riders, he plays for. I personally have questions as to why he's in the squad, but we'll see if he'll get a chance. Ishan Kishan and Sanju Samson. It'll be interesting to see who gets into the 11. I would think Ishan Kishan, but I think Sanju Samson being experienced playing in Australia, etc. Not sure if he'll get ahead of Ishan Kishan, but time will tell. Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, no introduction needed. Krishna Pagakam, who, Akash, keep me honest, isn't he the most expensive Indian player in IPL in the last auction?
Most expensive uncapped.
Yeah, so plays for CSK. He got a couple of games, or he hardly got a game. So it'll be
He didn't get a game.
He didn't get a game.
He did not get a game. So it'll be interesting to see where he'll fit into the playing 11, or will he in the Sri Lanka tour. Deepak Chahar can bowl, beautiful swing fast bowling. I wish he was in England squad because we would have made a difference if he was there. Then Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, who is the vice captain, looking forward for him to be fit, hopefully. Navdeep Saini, he seemed to have faded away, Vishak, isn't it? RCB, even for RCB, he was underutilized, unfortunately.
Yes.
For some reason.
He has faded, definitely has faded away. He doesn't look the same bowler what he was the previous IPL season. He's definitely faded. Even in Australia, he was pretty expensive as well. So it will be interesting to see. It will be a comeback of sorts for him. It will be interesting to see how he goes about it.
Chetan Sakaria, lefty, looking forward for him. Again, he has a great story getting to the Team India. Delighted that he got into the squad. Now comes Yuzi Chahal. Again, more of BCCI TV person more than a spinner, but we'll see again what he does in the squad. Rahul Chahar, very promising talent. Mumbai has been grooming him well. He plays for Mumbai Indians. Kuldeep Yadav and Chahal, I think it's a decider. We spoke about that during the chat with Vijay sir and Sabah Karim too. I think it will be important to have Chahal and Yadav perform well for India's sake, because Ashwin's nearing retirement, so it is critical for us to get some spin talent. And Varun Chakravarti, who needs no introduction, who shook IPL up. And then net bowlers. There are 4 net bowlers: Ishan Porel, Sandeep Warrior, Arshdeep Singh, who used to play for Punjab Kings, and Sai Kishore. Akash and Vishak, you got to intro Sai Kishore. I don't know much about it.
He plays for Chennai Super Kings. He's a left-arm spinner. He's done pretty well in the TNPL as well. He hasn't got a game with Chennai Super Kings, but he is a very good left-arm spinner.
So the team looks fantastic on paper, and I think England took a leaf out of India's book. They have a deep bench strength too. And even Stuart Broad, for example, today he was on the commentary stint and he was telling Atherton that he and Jimmy Anderson were expecting a call from Ben Stokes, but unfortunately they didn't get a call. But England went with their second side, which is interesting. I think more and more global teams are starting to look at the bench strength, learning from India. So should be good fun for Sri Lanka. Hopefully we can have a fight in the series. Not looking forward for one-sided series where India will come back happy and Arjuna Ranatunga unhappy.
Excellent, Suman. Suman is on absolute fire. Lots of compliments for the players for what they do on and off the field. Love it. Vishak, give us some players from the Sri Lankan squad which we can look forward to. People who may potentially be dangerous, can make a difference.
Yeah, can we just go through the squads simultaneously? Since
You should have it in the back of your mind, Vishak.
Yeah. After that performance of going through the squad in 20 seconds, you should know everyone. But,
so Wanindu Hasaranga is one who's been doing pretty well, with both with the bat and the ball. He would be one thing who should be, and Dhananjaya D. Silva, I think. He is one who has been rated pretty high in the Sri Lankan circuit as well. Then I think Vinura Fernando bowled pretty well in the England series. So these are the three players, and Kasun Rajitha and Lairu Kumara, since they're coming back after injury layoff, that would strengthen the Sri Lankan bowling a little bit. These are the players whom we can look out for.
Yeah, definitely he's playing at home. I think they should give us a relatively tough fight. Akash, you think this is potentially make or break series for Kuldeep Yadav?
I think so. I mean, if he is not able to perform here, then I don't see any reason why he should be the squad. In fact, even now I believe this series should not be taken too seriously from an Indian perspective, because this is more like, second string Sri Lankan squad, and we are pretty much as good as any international team out there. So Kuldeep Yadav has to go back to domestic. He has to get his revs back. He has to get his confidence back. Only then I think we should be. He's still young. He can be brought back anytime in the years to come. So I think he needs some time in the domestic circuit.
And Suman, having Rahul Dravid in the mix of things, how big a deal it is for Indian cricket? Because there's, we all love him and his calming influence. I'm sure a lot of these young players will, learn a lot from him.
Fantastic. Looking forward for him to be part of the India representation. He's always been on the under 19, and a public call out, if you ever know Rahul Dravid or can get me introduced to Rahul Dravid, please drop in a comment and please help me out with that, because I've been looking forward to get a selfie and autograph with him. Big fan. But last weekend we had Sabah Karim and Vijay sir, and we asked the same questions to both of them. And it is interesting thoughts which came out. And Vishak and Akash, feel free to chime in. Sabah Karim thinks, and Vijay sir both think, that he getting into a coaching stint with India team will probably not be conducive for his personality, because he's a perfectionist. He looks for things to be done in a methodical way, and the amount of stress which comes with the job versus his expectation, they feel that it is only going to cause him more problems than benefit for India. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it will be good for Indian cricket, but then when they said that, looking back his career when he was captain, 2007 World Cup, all that seems to resonate. What did you guys think, after that chat?
For me, a captain and coach combination is like a husband and wife combination. So you got to have ice and water, ice and fire go together hand in hand. So you can't have a combination like a Virat Kohli and Kumble when both of them are rubbing against each other. So if you want Dravid to be the coach, it has to be somebody like a Jinx or a Rohit Sharma who can listen to him and probably go by his methods. Whereas Virat Kohli is a person who goes as per his own trend. So as long as Kohli is captain, I think it's safer bet to keep Dravid in the under-19 circuit than in the international circuit.
So on a similar note, Sanjay, let me ask you this question. Mohammad Kaif thinks that there is no continuity for players in today's India squad. And he did not name the captain, but I think he was referencing to the captain that he doesn't put trust in the players to give them long rope. So again, on Twitter and social media, there are mixed reactions. Few pundits think that that's probably true 2 years ago with Virat Kohli, but he's now better at it. Some feel that not so good captain. I know you're a diehard fan of him, so what's your view there?
Yeah, but I'm also, sensible. And clearly one of the biggest issues with Kohli has been his inconsistency with team selection. We've known everyone in the team getting dropped, right? From Pujara in South Africa series, Rahane. No one feels absolutely certain in this team. So clearly, and I think in the first N number of games he captained, he never played the same squad. So that's one of the issues. And Mohammad Kaif obviously is coming from a vantage point where he played under Saurav Ganguly. Now you could argue that Saurav Ganguly backed the players, but sometimes maybe backed them too much, which potentially never let someone like, say, a Murli Karthik, progress as much as he potentially may have in someone else's captaincy. So there are ways to look at it. Unless Virat Kohli wins a couple of big championship ICC trophies, all these questions will keep coming, albeit indirectly.
So, Vishak and Akash, so let's pivot to the current series then. Shikhar Dhawan captaincy, I know that he hasn't captained much in the past, but does this beg a question? Should we have two different captains or multi-format captains, red ball and white ball?
I think at least for the limited overs, I think it can be handed over to Rohit Sharma. He's been doing pretty well. In the test format, we don't have any other player who has a spot fixed other than Virat Kohli and doing pretty well. Even if you see Ajinkya Rahane being the vice captain, hasn't been performing consistently as well. So you cannot hand over the captaincy there as well. So I think in the limited overs there are choices, but in the test format we don't have a choice. I think unless somebody comes and performs more consistently, we have to stick with Virat Kohli.
I think this year is a huge year for him with RCB as well as with the World T20 coming up, and the next World T20 is just after a year, within a year from this year's. In my personal opinion, the only captaincy he should give up ASAP is RCB's, because 10 years, almost 8 years is too much time. I'm sure the Indian fans are not going to be as patient as the RCB fans. So it's a big year for him. True test of what his captaincy, could bring. Before we move to fantasy, let's take a quick round. And my question would be, how many games of the 6 games is Sri Lanka going to win? Because I think every one of us definitely thinks that we will win the series. Akash, with you starting.
Sri Lanka nil. They're going to not win anything.
Suman?
Whitewash India.
Vishal?
I would be utterly disappointed even if we lose one game. So, this is obviously a second string Sri Lanka side. So, and even our B side as per Ranatunga should be good enough to beat them.
The only thing that can save... Sorry, Akash.
I mean, honestly, I've told that we shouldn't be taking these performances seriously from an Indian side. But anybody who gets in from a batting perspective, if you don't score a century, think you're missing out on the greatest opportunity to score a century in an international match. Same with the bowlers. If you're bowling well, just go through the spell, clean up Sri Lankan batting lineup. That should be the motive when you go out there, not just play around and try to cement your place. Play well, just play freely. This is the one opportunity you going to get with Indranagar ka Gunda being your coach. That's not going to come every now and then. So make most of it.
Yeah, and I know we are laughing and giggling, but we are truly disappointed with the state of Sri Lankan cricket. As cricket fans growing up watching those late 90s, those heartbreaking Jayasurya innings and Aravinda De Silvas, Ranatungas, Sangakaras, Jayawardhanes, this is, a pale shadow of what that team was. So really disappointing, but all we can hope is that they give a good fight, and I would be happy to, see them win a couple of games maybe. But I think India are by far the better side, and they should win this quite easily. Right, so let's move on to the fantasy section. I know Akash has been getting quite a few ones very right at the sweet spot, as we say in the fantasy league. You got Babar Azam as the captain, right? He scored a big 100 in the ODI. Shakib Al Hasan, then Quinton de Kock. Good week for you and us. Akash, what are we looking at in this first ODI?
Yeah, so if you look at the series schedule in the first place, we've got 3 ODIs and 3 T20s all being played at the same stadium, Premadasa Stadium at Colombo. And as you can see, Shikhar Dhawan is the skipper of the team, and as well as our Dream11 team as well. We are going by the fact that we believe India is going to bat first in this first match and score heavily, and that's the reason we have both the openers out there, Shikhar Dhawan as the captain of the team, and we believe that Prithvi Shaw might open the in the first match. Padikkal may have to wait for his chance, followed by Samson at number 3 perhaps, and that's why he's the wicketkeeper in our team as well. Surya Kumar Yadav, big series for him. We have a lot of hope on him, and we're hoping to see at least a couple of centuries from him. Followed by 2 from Sri Lanka, their best all-rounders perhaps, Wanindu Hasaranga and Dhananjaya De Silva, and Hardik Pandya, who seems to be bowling in the nets now, and that's the reason we have made him vice captain, simply because if he can bowl handy overs out there along with finishing the game for India, he could give you handy points. And then you have 2 good seamers from Sri Lanka, Chamira and Udana, who are likely to pick up the wickets, if any, from Sri Lankan perspective. Followed by our swing bowlers, our opening swing bowlers, Deepak Chahar and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who we expect to run through Sri Lankan top order. So that will be your 11.
So Samson over Kishan, interesting.
Yeah, Samson is more experienced, And looking at Kishan's current form, I think Samson would be obviously given the initial chance. And Dravid has worked closely with Samson previously as well. So I believe as part of Rajasthan Royals as well. So I believe Samson will be getting the preference ahead of Ishan Kishan.
Another surprising thing, Akash, no spinners from the Indian side in the team.
I don't think,
especially when the game is in Sri Lanka, where it is expected to spin a lot.
It's an ODI game, so probably if your opening bowlers run through Sri Lankan top order, I don't think spinners will be needed. And considering Chahal and Kuldeep's current form, let's wait and see how many wickets they're going to pick among themselves.
And Manish Pandey, Akash, you think will get a game? I'm sure he'll probably get the ODIs, not the T20s.
He will be in the team definitely for the ODI, but I'm wondering how many batsmen I can play for this particular Dream11 team. If you let me play, I would have played 11 players out of India, but unfortunately we can't do that. So we are going with those who we believe can give a major impact. Manish Pandey generally has a slower impact compared to the rest of the players out there. So that's the reason we have not played with Manish Pandey for the first game.
And this is my trick of throwing up a couple of names, because that's a pro tip I want to give. We throw a name and it's not in the team, and they end up scoring a lot of points. So we did discuss that person. So if you see Manish Pandey playing instead of XYZ, or you want to get it into the team,
watch out for Pandey. Watch out for Pandey in that case.
Absolutely brilliant. Before we leave you guys, a couple of quick points. The game obviously involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please be responsible if you are playing this game, and you have to be 18 plus if you happen to play this game. The other point, obviously, the fantasy tips which we are providing are purely for entertainment purposes. Waadaplaya or its members cannot be held responsible for any losses you may incur. Akash, Vishak, Suman, fantastic, great insights, great preview of the series, and we really look forward to having some close games. For our viewers, if you're here for the first time, please do check out our channel for other cricketing contents you may potentially like. We do lots of fantasy videos, previews, reviews. Interesting personalities have come on to our show, and we continue to bring a lot of good content which you should potentially end up liking. So please do subscribe to our channel. We really look forward to having you back on another day, another show. Till then, take care and be safe.
See you next time.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone.